Well, I mean, most of the people in this room know that our dad was very competitive at golfing. If you didn't, you know now. He always made sure that he taught my brother and I how to play, and gave us a lot of pointers along the way. And even late in life, when I was having trouble slicing, he says, "Son, all you got to do is turn your hand over a little bit. See those two knuckles? Turn them over, and you can see them. When you strike the ball, keep your head down. It'll work." He was right. I just kept doing that. And even to this day, I just say, turn my hand over, look at the knuckles. Dad's in my voice. Ball goes straight. Most of the time, not all the time. But he was very competitive, and I'll tell you a story. I was about 10 years old, maybe 11. And when Dad would come home from work, and I said, "Dad, what happened at work?" Dad, veterinarian, and I was, we loved animals, and I want to hear about Dad's stories at the hospital. Sometimes I get the honor of going in there to see him work. He put on that smock, and I thought my dad was so important. He was a doctor, and he took care of these animals. So he says, "Son, I had a regular client call me, and they have a daughter that has a pet tarantula. And the tarantula got hit with a book somehow. Book fell on it. And the daughter that was about my age, she said, was beside herself. And the mother says, you gotta do this for me and check this thing out." Because he said, "You gotta take Doc Lebo." So Dad's telling the story to me. He says, they brought the tarantula in, it's in a cigar box. Dad opens the thing up, thing's laying there. Dad already knew it was dead. But he went through the motions. He put on the stethoscope and he's checking it and talking a little bit, and seeing what what happened at the house. He's playing CSI. And so she's telling the story, and the guy says, "Well," he does his thing. He says, "Young lady," he says, "I think we're going to have to give it a little shot, but I don't think it's going to make it. So, but I can make it not hurt any longer, and I'll go to a special place." And my dad took the time to tell this little girl, make her feel better, because she was crying. And he said, "I took a syringe with just some water in it and poked it, but it said, put it to sleep." And I said, "Okay, great." I said, "That's wonderful. You made her feel good, Dad." "Yeah, uh-huh." And that was my dad. And then 20 years later, so I repeated that story to my father, and he remembered it. And I said, "Remember you helped that little girl and you did this and that?" And he says, "Yeah, I did that." I said, "You're going to send it to a great place or whatever." And I said, "By the way, did you send it to Bubbling Wells?" This is the place, the cemetery we sent the cats and dogs to. He says, "Are you kidding? They would have charged me money. I put some duct tape on the cigar box, I threw it in the trash." He says, "I helped that young girl because she was very upset." So that's the part I didn't hear when I was 10. I got to hear when I was older. But. And then another time, I remember this to this day, because this helps me remind me about service and helping others. Coming out of Taco Bell across the street from the pet hospital, and somebody that looked like they were homeless and they needed help or whatever, and they asked my father, he says, "Can I get some money?" And my dad says, "No, but are you hungry?" He says, "Yes, I am." So we walked right back into that Taco Bell. My dad said, "Pick anything out you want." The guy ordered a bunch of stuff, drinks, whatever. Dad paid for it, and we walked out. And I said, "Dad, why don't you just give him money?" He says, "Son, there's people in life that maybe have some troubles. You don't know if it's alcohol or tobacco, drugs, whatever. And they might use it for something they shouldn't." And I never forgot that. And to this day, I know there's been times where I've got something out of a convenience store because somebody was sitting on the corner and they looked like they were down on their luck. And I'll bring them some water or I'll give them some snacks or whatever. And I've done the thing where I'm coming out of a fast food place or a plate and I've done the same thing. But that's Dad. Dad had a level of service, whether it was serving his country, serving his community. He did quite a bit. You saw some of these photos. We were in Indian Guides, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts gym. We did, baseball. We did a lot of stuff in the community. And Dad was always there, even if he worked 10 or 12 hours a day. When I came home, and I was a pitcher when I grew up playing baseball, I said, Dad, I gotta work on this pitch. And he says, the knuckleball? I said, no, Dad, them only use the knuckleball minor. Dad taught me how to throw a knuckleball. But I said, no, I need to practice my fastball and my curve and all that. And we would be out there at almost dark, and I said, Dad, it's getting dark, you can't see the ball. He says, just throw the ball, just get it over the plate, and I'll get it. He did. But yeah, the level of service, the things he did were amazing. I remember, I think I was asking Jimmy about the Rotary Club that he was involved in, and I think he made president, I think, Jim. And he had to do something big because they had these luncheons every once in a while where all these guys, businessmen, would get together. And Dad was just, I think, became president. He wanted to impress the group. So at the time, he was doing all the shots and stuff for all the dogs, the German Shepherds, for the police department, local police department. He took care of the animals. So he asked the police department if they could bring the dogs in and do a show at the luncheon. He says, well, I don't know, sometimes they get, these hotels, they get worried about bringing animals. Well, you guys are the police, they'll work it out. So Dad made it happen, and they put on a show right after lunch. It was a setting like this, maybe a little bigger. And they had the police dogs do the tricks, and they had the stuff set up where they grabbed the person, the perpetrator, and they put in this whole show and everything. It was amazing. And I got to cut school that day, and I got to go. His dad said, you're going to this luncheon with me, this will be fun. So I got to go to that and watch all that. And I remember one of the guys saying, Lebo, this is one of the better lunches. These things are usually boring, but you got the dogs attacking people on the floor over here. This is awesome. Greatest lunch ever. I was proud of my dad that he had so many other things. Our dad taught us how to fish, how to hook a fish up and cut a fish open. He taught us how to golf. He taught us a lot of things in life that I remember and I'll always remember. And he left us a legacy, but not a legacy of just what you think a legacy is, of whether it's monetary or property or anything. He left us a legacy of love, a legacy of service and friendship that I see in a lot of people that I know in this room that have done things. And I see it a lot in my brother. I'm thankful enough that I share a house with my brother. And I see a lot of my dad in him, and it reminds me every day. And I say, that's what Dad would have done. That's what Dad would have said.
That's right. Turn up the air conditioner.
Yeah.
We're spending so much money. Yeah. Turn off the light.
Why are we paying this guy this kind of money?
Get out of the refrigerator.
Yeah. But I'm thankful for those things. And yeah, he was my father. He was I thought he was a great doctor. I thought he was a great golfer. And I really looked up to him. You think of your parents, I've said this before, you look up at your parents like they're superheroes, nothing's going to happen. But they eventually go. But our dad, had an amazing second chapter of his life, as you feel it. He did. My dad only loved 2 women in his life. Well, maybe a third, Angie Dickinson, a police story.
We'll talk about that one.
But we won't talk about that. Our mother and you were both shaped his life and brought a lot of joy. And we do thank you for that, for taking care of him and looking after him. And he loved to travel, and I'll never forget our 7 or 8 nights at Table 21 on the cruise. I got to have dinner with you both every night, Jimmy and I. That was awesome. Every single night. Remember the guy said on the way out the door, he would say, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
Same price.
Same price. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's about all I have to say. I kept thinking I was gonna, I said to myself, I can't start crying and doing this, I'll do it later. I just want to be able to get this out, and I love everyone in this room. Thank you all. And I don't think I have any other stories, just most of the people in this room know Dad was big on community, friendships, and service. And I saw a lot of that, and I still see a lot of it. My brother too, he likes to help other people, and he sometimes he does. I'm like, how come you're not charging more? I want to take care of these people. That was our father. He's a lot of my father and him. I see it every day. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I love you guys, and I can't believe I got through this. Love you.